Oh, it's all good fun, isn't it? But I think it's worth it in the end. This is such a spectacular card. So I'm just going to hold this now and glue that part there. And let's just put my protective paper down there and glue that edge that I've got in there. Now, with any luck and a lot of fiddling and a wing and a prayer, I should be able to swing this over and whoops, pop it into position. So that I'm going to make up what I call in position, i.e. normally we would lie this flat first and have that find its way on the paper, if that makes sense. If you've done these other ones, you'll know what I mean by that we let it find its way on the paper. But I'm forcing it out a little bit. Now these shapes tend to never quite spring where you want them to, so I think pulling them out artificially is quite helpful. I'm also going to just push that down really firmly with my craft knife, and now with any luck this one will just pop down like so, and I should be able to get this one to stick. Now I can kind of creep in underneath as well, which is what I'm doing. I'm making it look a bit more fiddly than it is because I'm having to work on the camera as well. That's not an excuse, it's just a little bit trickier. But you can see I'm just popping that down because you can open it up a little bit, and that's our mechanism in there now, and that should, fingers crossed, all close. Now there's quite a thickness to here, so I'm not going to overly squeeze that down, but look, see, we've got our tomato plants in there, and that's fantastic. So the next thing to do is just pop the roof onto this. I'm just going to pull those back a wee bit there, away from the windows. There we go, they're freeing themselves up now. They should sort of stay uprightish. Remember, this is just an approximation, it's not always the easiest thing to do. Now again, normally we would fold this flat like this and stick that on. So what I'm going to do is actually a similar technique, because it's got to go flat sooner or later. I'm sorry this is going to be hard to see, but there's a little flat there on the greenhouse. What I've done is just glued that, and I'll pull the card back for the. You can see now I've just sticking the roof section on there onto that tab, and I'm going to reverse it and do exactly the same over here. It's not happy about what's happening, because this isn't how we'd normally construct a pop-up, but it's a very special one, this one, and I think there we go. And if I just lay everything flat, that should kind of find its way. I'm forcing it a little bit, it's not quite fitted, but that will just pull back there. Now that was too much pressure, so I'm going to release some of that. It's a shame it's not quite lining up, but I'm going to let it find its own way like that. There we go. Now what I need to do is just glue those two bits in as well, so I'm going to go on and do that, and then just a little bit of jiggery pokery as the bottom part's just sprung away, and we'll come back and have a look at this. Now I've glued the parts on there, and I'm opening and closing my greenhouse here. Now you can, if you want to, squeeze them in, and it just gives you the opportunity of working on those parts if they come out. Now if you have it that way and you open and close your greenhouse, it does catch a little bit on the plinth there. Now we could shave some of the sides off, that would have helped a little bit, but that's just, you know, it's neither here nor there, or they can come out the other way. It really depends on you. Sometimes it's okay. I don't have a problem with them just sitting slightly inwards, because the other alternative, if I have, is to have them so that they come outwards, and then they just stick a little bit further out on the top of the roof. So it's never going to be perfect, this. I think that's fair to say, whichever method that you choose. You'll notice there is a slight gap here to allow for that, and we could shave a wee bit more off. But what you get is this wonderful, wonderful greenhouse popping up. I mean, that truly is a spectacular piece of pop-up work. And now remember that we could do exactly the same with the shed, perhaps a lot easier. Just if I just come back to this for a second and show you, we can just glue that tab there, put that one down there, and we've got basically our shed there. It's going to go on in exactly the same way. It can either come inwards, which I find a little bit better, it just keeps the roof slightly on, And then you have a tarpaulin roof, sorry, reach across there, which is going to go on to that point. And we've also got, if you need it, a door here that you can, if you want to, put a door on. It's a possibility, and that could go in place of the greenhouse. If you want to do a garden shed, it's a nice variation on the card there. Now, we've already looked at one way of doing the greenhouse with the pop-up mechanism, and that works really well. But as an alternative, we can use the base here, which is just simply flat. Feed the tomato plants through, glue the tabs, stick them down, and we end up with our plants like this. It's not as good as the other method, and they're a wee bit floppy, but hey, it kind of works, and to be honest, it's a lot less work. So what I'm going to do now is simply put this down first, so some glue onto here, and a little bit directly there. Line that up into the crease, rub that and stick it down. And then do the same for the other side here. It's a little bit lumpy, the pen isn't quite so happy, but there we go. And you see what's going to happen is these don't, like the other method, it springs up, but they go a little bit floppy. But the greenhouse will just kind of keep them in there. That'll be fine. Now if I line my greenhouse up on this white line here, I can just put that down and then re-stick that over it. So you want to make sure before you fully stick this background that there's a little bit of space for that to go in. Then I'm going to just flatten this down, put some glue on this tab here, and that will come on over and just thread in over the other side. And then just line this one up out here. I'm making this in what I call the upright position, so it's already under tension slightly, and that just helps pull in those sides. So the next thing to do is just to put the roof on, and again what we'll do is the same method, is simply glue the tabs there. I'm going to put some on here, fold this down, and I'm going to do this, sorry you're not going to be able to see it very well, just line that up with the top of the greenhouse there and push that, and a little bit of glue onto there, back onto there, and then just pull that one over so it just lines up on the other side there, if you can see, and then push that down and just see if we can get everything working for us. Now on the back here I've simply just put down a V fold for the hedge, so just put that at an angle, stick the other foot down, hold it, rub it down, and we get a pop-up, as I can show you here, for the back of the fence, like so. And now what we get is this little pop-up hedge, and off the back of this we can pull off other objects like the spade here. So what I'll do is just measure with my tab and a pencil line, just butt that up to the side there, pop in a pencil line, little bit of sticky there, pop that like so, put that on there, I just glued the two tabs, rest it down, and then just close all of this up. We can pop other elements on there like the flowers as well, and that could just pull off from there if you wanted it. We could just build up a whole set of scenery with these particular elements, which I'll go on and do. Now we've also got this hose pipe which we could have some fun with. We could have it just coming out almost from, let's have it off the side of the greenhouse. This isn't how these really like to work, and it will protest as we stick it, as we try and close the page. Whoops, there we go. Let's put that on there. Give that a bit more of a squeeze on the side. And you can see now we've got like a hose pipe coming out on the garden. As we, oops, let's get rid of that. As we close this up, it's going to semi-fold, but it's going to have to find its own way and crease. But we'll create that kind of additional effect as well on the card. And here is my finished pop-up greenhouse. You can see it really is quite a spectacular little card, and I think it looks lovely when it's all put together. So you've got all these additional elements you can put on there. We've got a choice of even putting the shed on, don't forget, instead of this. So yeah, you can make different cards. And all in all, it's just quite a lovely little card, I think, to both make, to give, and obviously to receive as well. So have fun with this one.